There is a problem with the conception of existentialism we all have, and that is existentialism simply did not start with Kierkegaard. Let me explain. My name is Luca Costa, and I am a PhD student at the University of Oxford, where I work on existentialism. Let us start with a key question. What is existentialism? So, the most common accepted definition of existentialism is a philosophy that believes that existence precedes essence. What does that mean? That means that human beings come into the world and that only afterwards do they decide who they want to be. So that their existence precedes their identity, their essence. This is how Jean-Paul Sartre defines existentialism. And this is the most commonly accepted definition. So in the account we all have of existentialism, Søren Kierkegaard, Danish philosopher, theologian, is the so-called father of existentialism. This account has two problems. The first problem is that Kierkegaard was a Christian. And the issue with that is that the most famous names of existentialism we all have in mind when we talk about existentialism, like Sartre, like Camus, like Beauvoir, and Heidegger, Merleau-Ponty, are atheist. So that is a first problem there. So how can a Christian philosopher be the father of a fundamentally atheist movement? And the second problem is that Jean-Paul Sartre states that he is the first philosopher in the history of Western philosophy to claim that existence precedes essence. And we can now safely argue that that is not the case. So these two problems can be solved in one move by considering someone else, the father of existentialism, or at least the father of atheistic existentialism. This someone else is the Italian philosopher and poet Giacomo Leopardi. Leopardi can be considered an atheist, and he states that existence precedes essence before Sartre. This is the core of my research. This is obviously not the format to, spend time on details. If you are interested in the details, check out my research in the captions. But very generally, we can say that Leopardi is an atheist and that he states that existence precedes essence. Moreover, Leopardi connects the problem of existence and essence, so the problems of existentialism, with the overarching problem of the meaning of life and the problem of God and the problem of nothingness and the problem of meaninglessness. These problems characterize our age, it is often said. So Leopardi understood that saying that existence precedes essence equals saying that life has no intrinsic meaning. Why is that? That is because essence, identity, and therefore meaning, purpose, can only be given to us afterwards. So there is no identity and therefore purpose and therefore meaning before we make it, before we create it for ourselves. Said otherwise, life has no intrinsic meaning. Life has only the meaning that we create on our terms after we exist. Now, Friedrich Nietzsche understood the importance of Leopardi. He mentions Leopardi many times throughout his works. Nietzsche considers Leopardi a nihilist. And here comes another important point. Nihilism and existentialism are not mutually exclusive. And in fact, the atheist existentialists, like Sartre, Camus, Beauvoir, are all nihilist as well. Nietzsche himself is sometimes considered an existentialist. And here comes the final important point of this conversation. Why is Leopardi so poorly known? Why nobody knows about Leopardi if it's true that he states the fundamental idea of existentialism? There are many reasons for that. The main being that he was translated very late, and that the work where he expresses the existentialist fundamental idea is his personal journal. It's a collection of notes. This collection of notes was intended as private by Leopardi, and therefore it was not meant for publication, and it was only published in 1901, so a very long time after Leopardi's death. Now, existentialism is one of the most relevant philosophies to understand our time. And that is why I'm doing my research on that. More than we think, it has shaped how we think existence today, how we think of ourselves today, and especially how the young generations think. Ideas like identity, freedom, self-determination are all existentialist ideas. So please write in the comments if you'd like to know more about existentialism or more about Leopardi, and if you have any reactions to this conversation. Thanks for listening.